outlet. You'll find a lot of Indonesian products. Our competitors is from China, from Vietnam, from Bangladesh. So in the era of US and China trade war, look at Indonesia also as an opportunity to invest because of the US and trade war. Many people go to Vietnam, but now Vietnam is very packed with all the companies moving out their business from China to Vietnam. But then we still have a lot of lands, a lot of incentive for doing business in Indonesia, especially for investment. West Sumatra province export has reached around 1.6 billion US dollar in 2018. You know what? US market, US investment in West Sumatra is the second largest one after India. India invested a lot in West Sumatra, but then United States invested as the second rank in West Sumatra. It's surprising also that a lot of US business people, they look at West Sumatra as a big opportunity. You can ask the governor what incentive they give for the business people, what is the main products that they can buy also from West Sumatra, because they can offer a lot of them, including also tourism sectors. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Indonesian population is reaching 268 million people. Our GDP is 1.02 trillion, and our economy GDP is growing 5.1717, or almost 5.2% in 2018. If you look at the member of G20, Indonesia's GDP is very stable. China is 6%, the growth, and India and Indonesia is in the rank of 5.1, 5.2%, which is meaning that our purchasing power is still there, very political stability. We just had our new election, and the incumbent was re-elected again for the second time. So besides building infrastructure, we also build now human resources development to match with the need of the business. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we also, for the last 5 years, we also climbed up to the rank of number 73 rank from 120 in ease of doing business, and the government has targeted to rank number 40 in the future. We also have online single submission. So if you want to invest, it is in the past, maybe it takes 3 months, sometimes years, but this time the president really committed to make easier for investment. Within 3 days, you can get your license to make easiest of doing business, including also giving the tax holiday, tax allowance, and then also super tax reduction. Probably in West Sumatra also, they have also a special zone for the business to offer to you. United States, in fact, is in the 8th largest foreign direct investors in Indonesia. It is reducing, actually. China is very aggressive, and then also our regional countries is also very aggressive to invest in Indonesia. And United States foreign direct investment in West Sumatra from 2014 to 2019 has reached 5.1 million US dollar, and they have around 31 projects. Mostly it is in hotel, in the restaurant, services, chemical, pharmaceutical industry, food industry, and also real estate. If I'm not mistaken, you have the Singkarak, ya Pak ya, bike competition every year. That is a signature event in West Sumatra. Once again, I hope this business forum will give you adequate information about potential cooperation and opportunities not only in investment, but also in trade and also in tourism. I really wish that Mr. Austin, you could inform the mayor to visit Indonesia, particularly to visit West Sumatra, and bring your business people to that province. Thank you guys, thank you very much.
Next up will be Mr. Christopher Olson. Christopher Olson is the director from the Mayor's Office of Trade and International Affairs. For the additional details, I'll let Chris introduce yourself up here. Come on up.
Thank you very much. And I purposely didn't prepare your remarks today because I want to be able to kind of outline a whole lot of different things that may make sense. First of all, welcome to Houston. Thank you, Governor, for bringing a delegation here to Houston. Obviously the best city in the United States. So thank you very much for that. Also want to thank the Honorable Consul General for all of your help and support. For those in the Indonesian community, you could not have a better advocate than the current Consul General. So thank you very much. And to the Chamber, thank you for hosting not only this event, but events like this across the city and across the region to highlight the kinds of opportunities that are there. Houston obviously is the center point of the world because that's where we are, and that's what we believe. We are the energy capital of the world, though, all joking aside. We're also one of the largest medical centers in the world that's here. We have the spaceport that's growing in Ellington. We're home to NASA's manned spaceflight. We're also home of deep innovation. And that innovation used to all take place within our energy sector, within the aerospace sector. You've now seen that move outside of those sectors to a larger startup community that is centered in Houston. You don't think of Houston necessarily when you think of innovation. You think of Silicon Valley, you might think of Austin, but we are looking more and more to think about Houston. First though, I want to talk about Western Sumatra and just the region itself. What you have seen over the last centuries is global trade centered in the Indian Ocean, the Indian Ocean basin. Over the last 200 years, that shifted a lot. You saw a lot more overland trade throughout Europe, a lot more between the US and Europe. You saw a lot more move through the Panama Canal, a lot from China, Japan, moving across the Pacific to the United States, through the canal to other areas, or maybe all the way around, all the way up to Europe. What a lot of people are seeing is that is going to recenter on the Indian Ocean. And a lot of that global trade is going to recenter itself on those sea routes that move back and forth between the Indian Ocean. That positions Western Sumatra in an incredible location to be at the heart of what is going to be that next century of global trade. And so I applaud a group like this coming to Houston today to see what opportunities there are to build on that global trade. More than I can speak about opportunities in Sumatra and Indonesia, I can speak more to what Houston has to offer and why Houston is a fantastic place to have a trade mission like this that includes energy but moves beyond energy. There is, of course, the heart of the energy sector that is here. Houston and the Gulf Coast is becoming one of the leading exporters of liquefied natural gas around the world. We also have the headquarters of all of those companies that do oil and gas, natural gas exploration. So for Houston companies to move into foreign environments is naturally what we do and what Houston is really good at. So if there are opportunities that you see or interested in like that, that is a place where Houston is certainly in a position to help, and Houston companies are in a position to help. Likewise, when it comes to energy at a broader spectrum, although Houston is traditionally the oil and gas capital, Houston gets 92% of its energy used from renewable sources. That strikes most people because Houston is viewed as the oil and gas capital, but it's also becoming a renewable capital. That's wind power, that's solar power, that is all spectrum of green energy, which to include geothermal. So although we do not have a long list of companies looking to do that, my guess is we have them with the technology that are excited to find new opportunities for that, and something we can certainly look into. Tourism, of course, is a wonderful sector. Agriculture is one that is the foundation of the city of Houston. Houston grew as an agricultural trading center The cotton exports that went around the world all came from West Texas through the city of Houston, and then went on not only to the United States, but to the world. As the global market shows, and there's some fantastic books, there's one called The Tale of the Global Traveling T-shirt, which just shows how that market is global, moving from West Texas to Indonesia, to Asia itself to be produced into refined textile products, which then could be moved back into the US market or the global market writ large. All that said is, Houston is a wonderful place to be, a wonderful place to look to do those business. What I'm hoping to get out of this is learning a little bit more about the kinds of opportunities that Houston area companies may have to invest in Western Sumatra, as well as how we can help promote Indonesian products to be sold here in the United States. The mayor's office has not a budget to do it, nor a staff to necessarily do trade promotion. We rely on partners like those that are here today to be able to advocate on behalf. But what we like to do is to help enable that. Speaking at events like this, helping break down doors where you might need it, help figure out potential suppliers or potential markets for products. That's what the city's here to help you do. I was prepared to help provide my pitch for my friend from the U.S. Commercial Service here today. Glad she's here, so I don't have to do that. But I'm going to put a plug for you anyway, because I do it all over the place. I come from the federal government. I've been a diplomat for the last 15 years and a business consultant on strategy before that. And one of the things I didn't realize truly the value of is the value of the commercial service in terms of helping U.S. companies sell products and enter foreign markets. So I'm excited that you're here today to help provide that. Meanwhile, we will continue to help provide opportunities for foreign companies to come into the Houston market. So if you have ideas, you have things that you think are ripe for opportunities, if you have innovation or technology that you're looking for an opportunity to sell, you're looking to bring startups to the United States to enter the US market, you're looking for startups to come into your market. Houston is a wonderful place to be, a wonderful place to start. I have some of my staff here today to help answer questions you may have or help enable me to be able to answer questions more intelligently. But I certainly welcome you all here. I welcome the opportunity to address a group like this. I think there's fantastic opportunities, and that you've certainly come to the right place for that. So thank you for the opportunity to speak, and have a wonderful day of conference and discussions. Thank you.
I don't know about you, but I was so inspired by that. So with that, without further delay, I'd like to welcome Ms. Nyamushi Igambi. She's the Director of the U.S. Commercial Service Houston base for the International Trade Administration of the U.S. Department of Commerce. Welcome.
Thank you. Wow, we've had some great presentations and remarks so far, and that's just going to make my presentation and remarks even shorter. So thank you, Chris, for the plug. It's great to have partners and friends in the room. Good morning to you all, and I would like to thank the Honorable Consul General Nana Juliana for this opportunity to speak to you this morning. I would also like to extend a warm welcome or welcome back to His Excellency Professor Prayitno, Governor of West Sumatra Province, and his delegation. And this is the first time I've had a chance to meet Mr. Hajiputro, okay, from the chamber. So thank you again, and to the other distinguished guests and visitors in the room. My name is Nyamushi Igambi, and I'm the Director of the U.S. Commercial Service, part of the U.S. Department of Commerce, based here in Houston. And so really my remarks today will be geared towards the U.S. companies in the room, but also taking on the Consul General's challenge of getting more U.S. companies into the market. And so we're here to help you do that. I see some familiar faces in the room. I see one of our clients there. Good to see you. And so I just want to applaud you for taking advantage of this opportunity to learn here in your backyard and to connect and start to build relationships with our Indonesian friends and explore global opportunities between us. The U.S. Commercial Service is part of the U.S. Department of Commerce's International Trade Administration. We're headquartered in Washington, D.C., and an organization of 1,400 trade professionals with 100 domestic offices, and that's how I landed here in Houston, but the advantage of working with us and utilizing your federal resources are the 120 offices overseas within the U.S. embassies and consulates. And so it's great to have Chris here as a former diplomat who brings a wealth of experience, and we partner on many opportunities. The International Trade Administration strengthens the competitiveness of U.S. industry, promotes trade and investment, and that is why I'm here today, and also ensures fair trade through rigorous enforcement of our trade laws and agreements. Last year alone, ITA assisted over 28,000 companies from all 50 U.S. states, U.S. territories, and the majority were small and mid-sized companies. In fact, 90% of all the companies assisted employed less than 500 employees, so we specialize in small business. And just briefly, how we help. On a daily basis, my small but dedicated team, there's about 7 of us here in Houston, work with companies to be business advisors. We do trade counseling, helping companies navigate the dynamic and complex nuances of international trade, from regulatory and customs requirements to export documentation. We also provide market research, and I'm very fortunate that I don't have to write that. We have brilliant analysts and locally engaged staff that write these wonderful country commercial guides, which provide a broad overview of opportunities within the market, and we have one for Indonesia, as well as top market reports, which get specialized industry-specific information. We value and support trade events like this, and we also coordinate domestic and international seminars, conferences, trade missions, trade shows. You might have heard a little show called OTC, but we actually brought an Indonesian delegation led by my colleague from the embassy in Jakarta to OTC, and that's one of our key energy events. The true value of working with the commercial service, and I thought Chris might mention it, is our Gold Key service, and a lot of companies take advantage of having U.S. government boots on the ground. Hi Eric, I just saw you. From XM Bank, having boots on the ground to set up one-on-one appointments for companies in the market. What's also valuable in this complex environment are the international company profiles or the background checks that we provide on international partners. And last but certainly not least, advocacy, working alongside our Indonesian counterparts and other foreign governments to address market access and trade barriers so that there's an ease of business both ways. We seek to connect companies to the appropriate resources both domestically and internationally. You have the City of Houston here. We also have the Export-Import Bank. If I missed anybody else, please forgive me, I can't see. But we also work with our State Department colleagues as well as our State of Texas colleagues to make sure that companies have the assistance they need to successfully do business globally and to do it faster and more profitably. In the time that I have left, I just want to kind of highlight some business prospects and opportunities in Indonesia. I know the governor has much more to say and elaborate on that. Just some notes from our colleagues in Jakarta about where the opportunities lie and where we can be of assistance. And like I said, this is a great opportunity to hear real-time market intelligence to help you make an informed decision on the opportunities that await you in Indonesia. I encourage you to network with as many folks in the room to take advantage of the opportunity to build both personal and business relationships, one of the key factors to growing your international business. Indonesia, as we've heard already, has a GDP per capita that exceeds many of its ASEAN neighbors, Philippines and Vietnam, with I now know 268 million and growing in population. Indonesia is a thriving democracy located in one of the world's most major trade routes and has extensive natural resources in an area the size of the United States, which you've already heard from this chamber. It is a top 10 market for U.S. agricultural products in Texas here, the export of cotton. as well as the growing middle class population, which makes it a ripe market for U.S. exports. It's interesting enough, and my Indonesian colleagues can verify this, but I read that Indonesians are the 4th largest users of Facebook.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Which I found fascinating. And number 1 for Twitter. Okay, great. So if you're in the e-commerce space, certainly an opportunity there. So that was an interesting statistic that I read today. Consumer-related market opportunities continue to lead growth in the world's 4th largest country. Expansion in both retail, health, education, telecom, and financial sectors have boomed in the last few years. Of note, Chris mentioned our spaceport and the aerospace sector here in Houston. Also, there's opportunities in the Indonesian aerospace sector as well. And in fact, the U.S. has a working group, aviation working group, that we work alongside our Indonesian colleagues to foster aviation exports. Indonesia has opportunities in infrastructure within rail, ports, and land transports, and having the Port of Houston here, so that makes it a great opportunity for us, as well as municipal infrastructure projects and wastewater systems. You've heard about the energy opportunities, specifically renewable energy opportunities, and we had an opportunity to host a co-host an event with the consulate here in May with my colleague Mario on opportunities in renewable energy, and we continue to foster continue the dialogue. Also, agribusiness, equipment, and supplies. A few more sectors of note: telecom, including satellites, as well as education and professional training as well.
Note on that, telecom, they just completed the fiber optic from east to west
Great.
in Indonesia, so the internet will jump up higher in west, especially the west.
So all of these companies in the telecom sector take note, but that's also important for the ease of doing business, right? Connectivity and finding new customers in the Indonesian market. We work with companies to help overcome any issues or barriers in the market, whether that's ease of doing business with the government or helping you find qualified partners within the market. Companies are recommended to do solid due diligence in a place and consult with the U.S. Commercial Service in Jakarta or in your local office to make sure you are working with the appropriate partners. Also, of note for U.S. companies is the competition within Indonesia, and the Consul General mentioned that earlier. Competition from Singapore, China, Japan, Australia, and Korea. So we're looking forward to working with you locally within our state partners to help really foster the international trade between our countries. So just some strategies, just a few remarks about that. U.S. companies must visit. So I know that my colleagues here would say, get on a plane and go see for yourself what the market is like and what life is like, and how it would impact your export opportunities into Indonesia. Important factors affecting purchasing decisions are pricing, financing, technical skills, and after-service support. Indonesian non-financial firms often depend on trade financing, so I do want to recognize Eric Miller again with Export-Import Bank with some great working capital and credit insurance programs. So if you need to offer your Indonesia buyers terms, then please go visit with Eric today. We also can connect companies to the new International Development Finance Corporation, formerly OPIC, as well as our SBA colleagues, should they need that assistance. Although it's possible for U.S. U.S. companies to sell directly to the government and state-owned companies, local agents or distributors are often necessary and essential for successful project development and delivery of products and services. U.S. companies like to go alone, but we say go with a partner, one who speaks the language, who has the cultural fluency to help you really truly be successful. U.S. and Indonesia also have a commercial dialogue, and this is a commercial diplomacy initiative developed by ITA and the Indonesian Ministry of Economic Affairs. And so we continue to work bilaterally to increase trade and investment opportunities. Under the dialogue, 6 key areas of pillars for expanding our relationship include investment, which you've heard the stats today, clean energy environment, small and medium-sized enterprises, expansion of bilateral commercial opportunities, as well as entrepreneurship. And I think we can check off a lot of those boxes here today. I mentioned, in conclusion, I mentioned the power, the aviation working group. We also have a U.S. power working group. So we're being in the energy capital of the world, we're very invested in energy opportunities, and we're pleased to work with our Indonesian counterparts on growing energy trade. So what's next? I always like to leave my audience with homework or next steps. So I'm very pleased to announce that in 2 weeks we'll have an Indonesian delegation to PowerGen in New Orleans. As again, energy is key for us here. We will also have a delegation to World of Concrete in February in Las Vegas. And last but not least, we look close to hosting another program on the sidelines of the Offshore Technology Conference next May. So thank you again for the opportunity